I think that these are welcome measures. I look forward to seeing them progressing through the House.
Kia ora, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for this opportunity to contribute in this committee stage debate on the administration of community sentences and orders bill. It's a shame that my colleague Jen Logie unfortunately can't also reap some praise that I want to give to the Minister. I want to acknowledge the announcement yesterday in terms of transgender and transsexual prisoners. I think it's not a bold move, but a move that she has made based on the evidence and also based on work of people like Jen Logie to advocate for our trans community. My contribution to this debate really is to highlight again the contribution that our probation officers give to the whole smooth running of the justice system. And actually, if there was one thing that I really wanted to highlight, is that this piece of legislation now empowers them with more responsibility, with more opportunity to do their job, which is, and I will quote from their website, protect the public and help reduce reoffending by supporting offenders to bring about positive change. And so I see that the opportunity that this piece of legislation gives to them will actually enable more robust relationship with community organisations. That's one of the things that I've seen in my electorate in Manurewa and the probation service that we provide, is that a lot of the community work that they try and find actually is about reintegrating and enabling some of our offenders who, for whatever reason, drunk driving, family violence issues, we want to reintegrate them. And so some of the specific connections that we were trying to encourage in my electorate was work in schools, for example, work in supporting not only sports organisations but some of our social sector organisations. So the overall theme and strategy about enabling people to contribute and feel like they are part of the community, I think completely is underlined in this piece of legislation. So I do want to congratulate the government for what they're doing. We have some challenges in the justice system. Too many of our young people and actually older people are doing things particularly around alcohol, drug, public behaviour, which means that one of the mechanisms we have are to sentence them to home detention or community detention. And so the overall strategy and philosophy that this piece of legislation is bringing in really is about giving people second chances and enabling them to feel like they are and do have a pathway to a better life and a better contribution. And so I particularly want to focus on, I guess, the translation of some of the community work to people being able to do courses. I think it's a really constructive thing for the justice system to encourage. And so I'm particularly encouraged by this general philosophy. And so it seems that there is a consensus not like right through the House in terms of this kind of justice engagement, because we want people to get the support and help that they need so that they don't stay there for life. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges, I think, when I look at who is in prison. And because of the Wiri prison being developed in my community, I have a relationship with Serco. I've been to Mount Eden prison, and I know that actually this type of philosophy, we can start at this lower offending end of the spectrum, but actually this philosophy needs to permeate right through our criminal justice system. And so as a philosophy, I'm really encouraged, and I again want to congratulate the Minister and also the people who worked on this bill. I'm not on the Law and Order Select Committee, but I acknowledge those members of the House who are. But I do see this as another constructive opportunity for us to work together, because I think for all of us, we don't want people in prisons. We want to stop building prisons. We actually want to make sure that people who do enter the justice system at this, I guess, the beginning end of what could be a pathway for them being in the justice system for life, they actually have a pathway out. And so that's why I particularly stand and support and commend this bill to the House. Thank you.
Members, we come to the vote. The questioners at part one stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. We now move to Part 1A. We have the Minister's amendment to replace new Part 1A as set out on SOP number 269. The question is that the Minister's amendment be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. We move to Part 2. First, we have the Minister's amendments as set out on SOP number 269. The question is that the amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is at Part 3. The question is at Part 2 is amended stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is at Part 3 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, we move to Part 4. First, we have the Minister's amendments as set out on SOP number 269. The question is that the amendment be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question is that Part 4 is amended stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, we move to the clauses. The question is at Clause 1 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, we move to Clause 2. We have the Minister's typescript amendments to Clause 2. The question is that the amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is that Clause 2 is amended stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. I will report this bill with amendment. Can we just check? Otherwise I'll do it. I might get the Cabinet Speaker.
Just wait a moment, I think.
Oh, here we are.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, the committee has considered the administration of community sentences and orders bill and reports it with amendment. Mr. Speaker, I move that the report be adopted.
The question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The bill is set down for third reading next sitting day. I call on government order of the day. Point of order? Call on government order of the day number 4.
Mr. Speaker. Insolvency Practitioners Bill, second reading.